will need a kind devotee, hopefully, to translate into French. We have at least, I would say, 3 or 4 devotees here who will need translation into French, at least 2 or 3. Is there a kind devotee who's capable of sitting with the devotees to translate into French? Devashi Prabhu, would you like to locate yourself here? We can bring a chair. Thank you, Prabhu. Someone can bring the chair. And those devotees, you can ask in French. Mais Prabhu, we need French. Lila, Mata, they need French. Welcome to all the devotees. Some of you have come from far distant lands. I think some of you are from England, is that correct? You've come from the United Kingdom, or disunited Kingdom, and wherever else. And are you just arriving? Where are you from?
Paris.
From Paris. Do you speak English? Okay, fine. Wonderful. Okay, so we are apparently reading from Chaitanya Charitamrita. I don't know if it's in some kind of sequence, but what is written on the board?
256.
Adi Lila?
256.
256. This is no particular title to this chapter, it just says chapter 2. I think there is a title, let's see. No, there's no particular title. Just chapter 2 of the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Introducing, we could say, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is more or less unknown, even in terms of, you could say, his existence, unknown to the majority of people in the world, even amongst Indians. Am I correct to say? Even amongst Hindus. Not many people know about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu or his associates, the Panchatattva. So this is one of the most, you could say, revolutionary needs of the day. It's not a change of government, even a change of material policy that may be there, but that's not the real solution. It's the, let's say, connection in this age of Kali, which we are living in, with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, which will create the real, not just a revolution in terms of society. Well, we'd like to welcome Revatinandan Prabhu also. You just came down from Paris also? And you brought some devotees with you. Thank you very much. Do they need French translation? So maybe they can locate. Français! Vive la France! Vive la France! But it's Krishna in his form of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu who appeared to really satisfy what everyone's looking for. We're all looking for absolute love. And Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu alone in this age is giving the, what would we say, the pinnacle, the epitome of that absolute love, which we're all, every living entity is hankering after. So we're hearing an introduction so we get a little bit of an understanding, not just of the sentiment, but of the philosophy, the actual position of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his associates, the real understanding of who we are and a relationship with the Supreme Being, and how we can awaken that relationship, the actual meaning and importance of the various, what are called tattvas, the various truths, whether it's Jiva Tattva or whatever Tattva, Vishnu Tattva, Shakti Tattva, Shiva Tattva. So many tattvas are there, truths, which are not understood in general. Some speculative ideas may be there, but in this first section of Chaitanya Charitamrita, great detail is given on this subject matter. So we approach the situation with the proper understanding, the proper knowledge of the relationships of the various living entities and the energies of Godhead. So this is text number 56, which we'll read. Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jai Jai Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda.
If you wish, you can repeat. It's on the board. Setina Janera Tumi Paramashray
Setina Janera Tumi Paramashray
Tumi Mula Narayana Yete Ki Samshaya
Tumi Mula Narayana Yete Ki Samshaya
Setina Janera Tumi Paramashray
Setina Janera Tumi Paramashray
Tumi Mula Narayana Yete Ki Samshaya
Tumi Mula Narayana Yete Ki Samshaya
Setina Janera Tumi Paramashraya
Setina Janera Tumi Paramashray
Tumi Mula Narayana Yete Ki Samshaya
Tumi Mula Narayana Yete Ki Samshaya
Setina Janera Tumi Paramashraya
Setina Janera Tumi Paramashray
Tumi Mula Narayana Yete Ki Samshaya
Tumi Mula Narayana Yete Ki Samshaya
Setina Janera Tumi Paramashaya
Setina Janera Tumi Paramashraya
Tumi Mula Narayana Yete Ki Samshaya
Tumi Mula Narayana Yete Ki Samshaya
Setina Janera Tumi Paramahashraya
Setina Janera Tumi Paramashraya
Tumi Mula Narayana Yete Ki Samshaya
Tumi Mula Narayana Yete Ki Samshaya
Setina Janera Tumi Paramashraya
Setina Janera Tumi Paramahashraya
Tumi Mula Narayana Ite Ki Samshaya
Tumi Mula Narayana Yete Ki Samshaya
Ladies.
Setina Janera Tumi Paramashraya
Setina Janera Tumi Paramahashraya
Tumi Mula Narayana Ite Ki Samshaya
Tumi Mula Narayana Yete Ki Samshaya
Setina Janera Tumi Paramashraya
Setina Janera Tumi Paramahashraya
Tumi Mula Narayana Ite Ki Samshaya
Tumi Mula Narayana Yete Ki Samshaya Setina Janera Tumi Paramahashraya Tumi Mula Narayana Yete Ki Samshaya
genera of the plenary portions to me. You, Parama, ultimate, Ashraya, shelter, to me. You, Mula, primeval, Narayan, Ite, in this, Ki, what, Sanshaya, doubt. Translation for the port by Srila Prabhupada. You are the ultimate shelter of these three planetary systems. Thus there is not the slightest doubt that you are the primeval Lord Narayan. This is Lord Brahma speaking. Brahma has confirmed in purport that Lord Krishna is the Supreme, the source of the three manifestations known as Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, and Karanadakshayi Vishnu, or Mahavishnu. For his pastimes, Lord Krishna has four original manifestations, namely Vasudeva, Sankarsha, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. The first, Purusha Avatar, Mahavishnu, in the causal ocean, who is the creator of the aggregate material energy, is an expansion of Sankarsha. The second, Purusha, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, is an expansion of Pradyumna. And the third Purusha, Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, is an expansion of Aniruddha. All these are within the category of manifestations of Narayana, who is a manifestation of Sri Krishna. Hare Krishna. This is, you could say, a very, maybe a little technical subject matter, very wordy. It may not be something we can immediately relate with. And essentially here we see that everything is emanating from Krishna. Even his first manifestation known as Maharaja, who is the source also of the expansions of, in the spiritual realm of the four forms, Sankarshan and so on, they all expand from him, but ultimately everything is coming from Krishna. Even the Purusha avatars, everything is coming from the Supreme Personality of God. Lord Balaram is the, you could say, the particular expansion of the Lord to fulfill the various expansive needs. Whether it's various functional expansions of the Lord, or whether it's the facilitating of the Lord's particular pastimes within the spiritual realm or the material realm. Lord Balaram is the, you could say, the resting place, the one who provides the various background for all the various facilities for the various pastimes of the Lord. And sometimes we hear sometimes he is non-different from the Lord, except for, sometimes prophets say, his color. Otherwise, he's just an expansion of the Lord for various purposes. Aside from all of that, the essential factor, we could say, of understanding how everything is related to the Supreme Person. Nothing is separate from him. Krishna conscious Nirbandha, Krishna Sambandha, Yukta Varayamuchite is basically the process or the science of understanding how everything is related to the Supreme Lord. There's no independent competitor, as is visualized by certain groups of at least sentimentally religious people. But there's no actual competitor to the Supreme Lord. He's one without a second. Sometimes people think, oh, you're worshipping so many gods. But that's again with imperfect understanding. Like we may say there are so many rulers of the country, if we don't know the relationship with ministers, with the Prime Minister or with the government itself, we may see separatism there. And of course, imperfectly speaking, in this world there may be separatism, but in principle there shouldn't be. In relationship with the Supreme Lord, there is no separatism as such. Everything is his energy. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matak sarvam pravartateya. Everything material and spiritual is coming from him. Everything is resting on the Supreme Personality. You've got it. Everything is resting on him or from him, like pearls on a thread. There's a unique feature here. When we think of something, everything is resting on you. Now, if you've been in management, I don't know if any, I can't see any of the direct managers here, so I'll put my glasses on to see them. Probably exhausted. There's a finger pointing in a direction. Oh, hiding behind the wall there. There's another devotee next to you. I can't see who it is. There we go. Oh, Hare Krishna. So here's Namacharya Prabhu. He's one of the managers here in Mayapur. And sometimes you feel everything is resting on you. No matter what it is, even the dirt in the bathroom, and the broken whatever it is over there, the water's not working, and the too many leaves piled up over here, the bumpy road around here, the water, underground water tank over there that's still not been fenced off. Everything feels like it's resting on you. The car's parked in the wrong place, this person, that person, everything, all the complaints, all the this, everything is resting on you. It's quite I was talking to one devotee last night, and they said they cannot sleep at night worrying about things. I wasn't talking to myself, I was talking to myself. And yeah, it feels like the whole world, and it's so small in reality. I mean, when we even if you go to the extent of saying you're managing supposedly a country with the help of others, of course, it may be very, maybe it is weighing heavily and they can't sleep like that. I can't say, but you can say yes, relatively speaking, but it's very small. Here we're hearing Lord Brahma, and he's like, he's got the whole world the whole universe to worry about, isn't he? Yes, he has. The whole universe. Can you imagine? If you had to, be responsible for the whole universe. We can't even be responsible. It's hard enough being responsible for our own mind and body, isn't it? Isn't it? It's tough even with nothing else. Even just our own mind and body is almost too much to deal with sometimes. Tough. Well, and Lord Brahma is just nothing. He's just, when he realized the greatness of Narayan, he's in the mood of worshipping Lord Vishnu, Lord Narayan. So when he realized the actual greatness of Lord Narayan in the Brahma Vimona Lila, for instance, he just considered himself like an insect in a pot. Insignificant insect in a pot. Nothing. When he saw other universes and other Brahma, every universe has a Brahma, a creator, an overseer, highly intelligent, organized engineer of each universe, you could say. And he saw himself so insignificant compared to other Brahmas. And then when he saw how everything ultimately was simply a teeny little speck of Krishna or Narayan's energy, he became totally humbled, so humbled. So this information, although maybe we cannot visualize, we cannot measure, we can try to remember it, but and it's purifying to remember if we're in a favourable mood, and it's just to help us to understand that a significant feature of our progress or our path in spiritual life is dainyo, humility, humbling. Even in their material experience, when you see great mountains, even here in France we have the Pyrenees and the Alps, and when you're stood in front of Mont Blanc, is that the mountain? Mont Blanc, on the border with Italy. It's very, what do we say? What's the word? Huh? What's the English word? You're looking at it, it's very...
Magnanimous.
Pardon? Awe-inspiring, yeah. There's different words you could use. You feel very small. Or to speak if you're up on the mountain, you feel very small, helpless, helpless. You might be, whatever big man you are in the world, but when you're faced with it, or in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean, on your own, you've got a rubber ring, maybe. But that's not going to help you that much. We're totally insignificant, practically. That's another aspect of this subject matter, is to help prepare us with a humble heart to really understand the purpose of the Lord and the purpose of life itself, and the science of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, the Sankirtan movement, which he brought to this world. And beyond it all is to, let's say, gift the opportunity to every living entity the gift of praying or love of God. It's amazing. I'm going to read something because tomorrow is a very significant day in our Hare Krishna movement. You know what tomorrow is? Sunday. Very significant. In some temples, Sunday means a Sunday feast. Now, but that's not what I'm aiming at here. It may be significant indeed to many. Could be more significant. What else is it significant tomorrow? It's also, of course, for many Christians, it's their holy day. But for Vaishnavas, Gaudiya Vaishnavas, specifically those who are members of ISKCON, what is significant about tomorrow? It's the anniversary of Srila Prabhupada's arrival in Boston. September the 17th, 1965. So how many years ago is that? It's 58 years ago, is it? 58? Is that correct? A quick memory check is required. But I think it's 58 years. In 2 years' time, I guess it will be 60 years. If we're still around, we'll be able to remember that. But it's tomorrow, the 58th anniversary, in one sense, of Srila Prabhupada's arrival in Boston, bringing this message of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to the Western world, and to America, to the first time, to be honest. There may have been maybe some people who went there and spoke about Krishna, rightly or wrongly, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, first time. Tomorrow is the anniversary. So tomorrow is also, besides that, I presume the speaker, whoever's giving class tomorrow, will speak on that. But aside from that, tomorrow is the first day. Although I was supposed to be the director for the program, the World Holy Name Festival has kind of gone into a different dynamic. And I found out by Rasikananda Prabhu told me in the car yesterday, he read it on the Manila, Philippines website, that tomorrow is the first day of the World Holy Name Week. So this is also very nice. Meditation, but it's good to put meditation into action. So I don't know, maybe it's not within the realm of the devotees to do that much, but this week, it actually is within our realm, it's a matter of desire really, is the World Holy Name Week. It goes up, I presume, 7 days, up to, when is Radhastami, on Saturday? Up till Saturday. What a nice way to conclude the World Holy Name Week, on Radhastami. Of course, we can never conclude it. Lord Chaitanya's movement is eternal. Sankirtan is Kirtaniya Sadahari. It can be all. Oh, here I'm the culprit today. To turn this little fellow off. There we go. Come on. I don't want to go off. There we go. it can be, Lord Chaitanya's movement is for 24 hours kirtan, but at least we can try to be maybe a little bit more kirtan conscious this week, World Holy Name Week, starting tomorrow. Why? Well, we one sense it should be every moment, but we need these little reminders sometimes. Huh? As in every walk of life, there's certain days which help to remind us, whether it's remembering those people who gave up their lives in the war, or whether it's birthdays, or remembrance of somebody's passing away, or some historic event in the nation, materially. There are certain occasions which remind us. Huh? So we need reminding. We have a default tendency to forget very easily what we're here for, what our process is, what our goal is, and what the means to attain the goal is. So this World Holy Name Week is meant for helping to rejuvenate our enthusiasm for the process that Lord Chaitanya has brought into this world for this age of Kali, particularly Yogya Sankirtanam Prayoyajanti Sumedasaha. That the sacrifice for this age is Sankirtan, congregational chanting of the holy name. There are many ways you could say, recognize this week, this World Holy Name Week. We could read about the holy name. We could all read hundreds of quotes in the scriptures. Hundreds, not just from our scriptures, in the Bible, in the Quran, various scriptures glorifying the holy name of God. And the importance of singing or chanting or hallowing or whatever it is people do. Hallowed be thy holy name, the holy name of God. It is the essential way that conditioned souls, particularly in this age, can connect with God. This is Krishna consciousness. Or God, or Krishna, whatever. But with the origin, with the Supreme Person. Chanting His holy name. It's not only the most essential method, it's the most joyful method. Everyone who has experienced this will attest to the fact that Sankirtan is very joyful. Maybe you have some difference of opinion, I don't know. But generally speaking, we've experienced that. It is a very joyful, to Shanticha Ramanticha, it's a very joyful process. And even though we may not be so, in one sense, spiritually enlightened, we may not be so pure in our life or in our minds, when we are fortunate enough to be absorbed in kirtans called kirtan rasa, to some degree at least, Jiva Goswami says that even a person who is full of anarthas, when they come into the Sankirtan, the congregational chanting of the holy names, they can experience bliss. Now, what type of bliss? It may not be the absolute bliss of loving relationship with Godhead in terms of, the spiritual realm, so to speak, or even within this realm of the totally purified heart who is feeling various ecstatic emotions in relationship with Krishna. It's another type of mercy bliss. By the mercy of Lord Balaram, Lord Nityananda Balaram, and ultimately Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, rather than Krishna, one experiences a relief from material distress. The chanting of the holy name has this amazing effect that we forget, by the mercy of the name, all the so-called causes of distress, and a little bit, we get like a sample of what it's like to be above the modes of nature. This will be relative to our relationship, but still it's there. It's there. And the more we access that, the more we just absorb ourselves. Sankirtan is not just congregational. Sankirtan means complete. Complete, everything, body, mind, everything, intellect, everything involved in that activity. And it is, when the congregation, you start dancing and singing, and kind of let go. We let go of all the inhibitions or whatever it may be, attachments, at least for the time being. Even envy and pride and all these things can, of course, we can, in any situation, if we really want to, we can still, try to, let's say, manifest a situation of pride. I'm the best, and look at me, and this and that. But the more we let go, the more one experiences freedom. It's not really bliss, exactly, but it's maybe Brahmananda or something, some bliss from relief from distress. Everyone gets that, to some degree. This is one of the universal benefits or good fortunes of the Sankirtan movement. So this week starts tomorrow, and we want to try to absorb others in this opportunity. So I don't know, I'm not in management. The management may have more priorities and the devotees may have other services, but as much as possible this week if we can facilitate. I was even thinking as we were driving back from Chateauroux yesterday, we had a Harinam party. 19 devotees came out on Harinam in Chateauroux yesterday, 19. So we were driving back and we passed through Lavroux. Is that how you pronounce it? Lavroux, the town on the way. A nice little town. And tomorrow, no not tomorrow, Monday, happens to be market day in Lavroux. Lavroux is packed on Monday. It's absolutely packed. You can't see where you're going. There's so many people there. The problem is we can't see the people either. But they are there, but you can't see them. They're unmanifested. But there are some people there, more than usual. Usually there's nobody. But there are some people there. So I'm thinking to go, just a sentiment at the moment. It hasn't manifested into reality. Thinking of going to Lavroux on Harinam Sankirtan on Monday morning. I've been there a few times, maybe once or twice before on market day. It's fun. They give that Sankirtan, Mercy of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then different days in this part of the world are market days. Like Wednesday, of course, is Losh. Thursday is Selshare. Tuesday is Valence. Valence is Tuesday, and Thursday is Selshare. Selshare is one of the biggest markets in this part of the world. It's huge. At least it used to be. Since COVID, it's a bit smaller. But there's still quite a lot of people there. So, although we're in the middle of nowhere here, we're in the sticks, there's still a lot of people around the area, and they do come out for market days. It's one of the specialities of France. People like their market days. So let's see what happens. I'm not promising anything, but let's see what Krishna has in store. And here in the temple, when Prabhupada was here, he said, "Are you going on Sankirtan from here? Or you're doing Sankirtan rather?" And the devotee said, "Once a week." And Prabhupada said, "Why only once a week?" He said, "It should be every day here in the temple. You don't have to go anywhere. There are millions of living entities, or billions of living entities in our own body. What to speak of everywhere else?" So the Sankirtan benefits everyone in the forest, wherever you go, wherever we are, we can do Sankirtan. Now, another thing which is on, you could say, on the calendar coming up soon, but it's something on our minds right now, is very beautiful. I have in this, where's that orange bag? Here it is. Krishna. I'm going to read from the 12th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Yes, exactly. We're perhaps reading from the 10th canto at the moment, but I'm going to jump forward to the 12th canto. And this is the last chapter of the 12th canto. The 12th canto is the last canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. There are 12 cantos. And this is the last chapter of the 12th canto. And these are the last verses of the last chapter of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And of course, these verses, they're not exactly a summary. They give us an indication of the glorious nature of this literature, Srimad Bhagavatam. Now, this is very related to tomorrow's festival. What is tomorrow's festival? We've mentioned Prabhupada's arrival in Boston. Well, what was other than the fact that he's arrived in Boston, you could say many things, But what also was very, very significant about that moment when he arrived, he wrote that the next day actually, on the 18th.
Wrote the Bhagavatam?
The Srimad Bhagavatam also arrived in Boston. At least the first canto arrived. 3 volumes, 200 sets of the first canto arrived in Boston. Of course you all know this, I've said it before. Prabhupada one time said, I did not go to America with the Srimad Bhagavatam. The Srimad Bhagavatam went to America and took me along with it. It was the plan of the Lord to go in this form of Srimad Bhagavatam. 2 forms of Bhagavat, book Bhagavat, person Bhagavat. They both went and they both arrived together in Boston. Very significant event. We sometimes, and you'll notice in Markandeya Bhagavat Dharma the emphasis that Prabhupada places on the Bhagavatam. Practically, at least almost half of his first poetic writing was around the Srimad Bhagavatam and the importance of Srimad Bhagavatam. So this month, on the 29th of September, happens to be, what is it, on the 29th of September? Does anyone know?
Shravanam week.
Pardon?
Shravanam week. Yeah, that's the week about the reading of Srila Prabhupada.
Okay, Shravana week, that's another factor. That's another factor, but I'm saying what is the 29th?
Sannyas. Prabhupada Sannyas.
It's, what is it?
Prabhupada takes Sannyas. 29 September.
He takes Prabhupada on the 29th of September on the Vedic calendar.
Yes.
It's very significant. It's not only that, there's something else too. Bhadra Purnima. Bhadra Purnima is very significant in terms of Srimad Bhagavatam. Of course in ISKCON, it's been grown in the last 4 years to a target date where we try to emphasize Srimad Bhagavatam. Distribution of the Bhagavatam, hearing of Srimad Bhagavatam, etc. So let's hear some of those glories. So before I do forget, we have a target in ISKCON set by Vaisheshika Prabhu and the team of trying to distribute 55,000 sets of Srimad Bhagavatam in all languages combined, not each language, but altogether, by this date. This endeavour, this campaign goes from Gaura Purnima to Bhadra Purnima. So there's still, how many days? 13 days to go. So we still have probably a few thousand sets to go before we reach the target of 55,000 sets. Last year it was 35,000, so it's up, and I think worldwide about 38,000 more were done last year, but this year the target is 55. So if you want to take part in this, let me know afterwards. It's a great opportunity. And let's hear something from the Bhagavatam. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 What's the dates of World Shravanam Week?
29 Maharaj, starting.
Oh, good. Okay, so
This way.
you've got to have the Bhagavatam first before you can read it, isn't it?
Yes.
So you get the Bhagavatam now, and then you read it from the 29th onwards, okay? You can read it before also, but it's very important to read the Srimad Bhagavatam and to encourage others to read the Srimad Bhagavatam. So let's see here, we're concluding words here of the Srimad Bhagavatam by Sutta Goswami. From beginning to end, the Srimad Bhagavatam is full of narrations that encourage renunciation of material life, as well as nectarian accounts of Lord Krishna's or Hari's transcendental pastimes, which give ecstasy to the saintly devotees and demigods. This Bhagavatam is the essence of all Vedanta philosophy, inclusive Vedic, ancient terminology, Vedic knowledge, because its subject matter is the absolute truth, which, while non-different from the spirit soul, is the ultimate reality, one without a second. The goal of this literature is exclusive devotional service unto that supreme truth. If on the full moon day of the month of Bhadra, which is the 29th of September, one places the Srimad Bhagavatam on a golden throne and gives it as a gift, he will attain the supreme transcendental destination. That's a pretty good benediction. Which you may not have golden throne. Do we have a gold? It doesn't say it has to be made of gold. It just said it has to be a golden throne. Right? So you can get a throne, or something like a throne, and make it gold, put some gold cloth on it, or paint it gold, or something or another, and gift a set of Bhagavatams to somebody. Your wife, your husband, and your wife gives it back to you. No, not like that. Same set. Somebody else also, some gift. So that's on the 29th. We can do it before also. This is extended Bhadra campaign. This is the month of Bhadra, so we can do it any time. Even if it's not on a golden throne, it has come like on a golden throne. Srila Prabhupada has brought this Srimad Bhagavatam. Well, whatever way you look at it, he has brought, he's revealed the Srimad Bhagavatam to the world. The book Bhagavat the person Bhagavat reveals the book Bhagavat, or the Supreme Personality of God in the form of the book. All other Puranic, that means other historic literatures, whatever they may be, or scriptures, all other Puranic scriptures shine forth in the assembly of saintly persons only as long as that great ocean of nectar, Srimad Bhagavatam, is not heard. When the Srimad Bhagavatam was spoken in the forest of Naimisharanya by Srila Goswami to the sages, they were hearing so many scriptures. It wasn't just Bhagavatam, but they weren't satisfied. It was like something missing. And we see in the beginning of Bhagavatam how Vyasadeva, the compiler of all the Vedic, practically all the Vedic literatures, including the Puranas, the Mahabharata, and so many Itihasas, and so on and so forth, was not fully satisfied. Until Narada Muni enlightened him. You have to present the Srimad Bhagavatam in full, or in this particular format. Only then will the purpose of the Vedas be fulfilled. So that's the beginning, and now at the end we see here how the Srimad Bhagavatam eclipses all other scriptures. All other scriptures are really meant to indicate or guide us towards Srimad Bhagavatam. Srimad Bhagavatam is declared to be the essence of all Vedanta philosophy. One who has felt satisfaction from its nectarian mellow will never be attracted to any other literature. Sometimes people say, don't you read any other books like Love Song Rampa or I Ching or Autobiography of so-and-so? We don't need to, because if there is anything valuable, if there is anything, it is ultimately leading to the point of understanding the goal of the essence of all literature, which is Srimad Bhagavatam. Methods to purify us so we can actually, you could say, become convinced, eligible, and attracted towards Srimad Bhagavatam. Just as the Ganges is the greatest of all rivers, Lord Achyuta, the supreme among deities, and Lord Shiva, the greatest of the Vaishnavas, so Srimad Bhagavatam is the greatest of all the Puranas. O Brahmins, in the same way that the city of Kashi, we say Varanasi or Varanasi, is unexcelled among holy places. Srimad Bhagavatam is supreme among all the Puranas. And then a very beautiful and famous verse. Srimad Bhagavatam Puranam Mamalang Yad Vaishnavanam Priyam Yasmin Paramahansyam Ekam Mamalang Jnanam Parangiyate Tatra Jnana Viraga Bhakti Sahitam Naishkarmyam Aviskritam Tatchinvan Supatan Vicharana Paro Bhaktya Vimuchen Naraha. I remember Mahavishnu Goswami. I don't know if any of you ever met Mahavishnu Goswami. We're not talking about the Mahavishnu Swami who came here a few weeks ago, the Namahata Swami. No, we're talking about a senior, very elderly, good from Gujarati family, sannyasi in ISKCON, who I don't know if he memorized the whole Bhagavatam, but he was like a walking Bhagavat. Wherever he go, he would just quote a relevant verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. I met him about 2 weeks before he left his body. He was 94 years old, and he could hardly walk. He found out, we didn't know where he was. He happened to be in the same town that we were in India, and he found out we were there, and somehow or another he came over with one or two of his disciples, and he came in and he was just speaking Bhagavatam and getting everyone to recite verses from Bhagavatam. To his last breath he was reciting Srimad Bhagavatam. And I'll tell you a nice story about him. He joined ISKCON. We started coming in 1974 in the manor, Bhaktivedanta manor. And I kind of made friends with him. I mean, he was like an elderly uncle to me through my life. And he was very humble. He would sit in Prabhupada's rooms. Nobody knew who he was hardly. He would sit there all day just reading Prabhupada's books. He was kind of semi-retired. He was just reading Prabhupada's books. And nobody took him very seriously in terms of more than that. Nice Indian man who would come. Wasn't rich. And then he fully retired, I suppose about 1980 maybe, I don't know. I can't remember, 79, 80. And he actually moved into the temple. He moved into Soho Street Temple. And he was just another devotee staying there. No one, an elderly Indian man, do a little service, and very jolly, always very jolly. Always talking about the Bhagavatam. Not that time he wasn't so much actually. Anyway, it so happened that there was a change, and he took initiation in ISKCON, and it so happened there was a big problem, and the initiating guru left the movement. And a new one came along. The new one said, if you don't surrender unto me, you have to leave. So he said, okay, I'll leave. He left. Gave him 12 hours notice to get out. Nowhere to leave. He went to the Social Security office in London. They said, there's nothing we can do for you now, come back tomorrow. He said, there's nothing I can do either, I'm not moving. So he sat there, and they eventually put him in a hotel overnight and then found him a place to stay on his own for years in London. So what do you do when you're in a situation like that? Go to make a social media complaint? Spend your whole time campaigning against those who've mistreated you? Give up altogether? What do you do in a situation like that? Okay, you hit the nail on the head. He saw this, this is a golden opportunity. He spent the next years with Prabhupada's Bhagavatam, reading it morning to night. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. He had one of those one-volume Bhagavatams. It didn't, of course, go up to the 12th canto in those days. That was later. But he had a one-volume Bhagavatam. I know, a little small print, and he's probably, I don't know what age he is, probably in the 70s or something. Tiny little print. But he never wore glasses to the moment he died. He was still reading. And he was day and night reading it. Amazing. He never had, that book was always with him. It was like his constant companion, Srimad Bhagavatam. And then again, of course, another change took place. in the temple, and the next one invited him back again. And he came back, and he was another devotee of the temple. Then one day, no one really knew where he was at. The devotee didn't turn up for class. I don't know if you ever have that issue here, but the devotee didn't turn up for class, and who's going to give class? Hey, Mahavishnu Prabhu, would you like to give class this morning? You seem to know a lot about the Bhagavatam, so he gave class. And that was the beginning of the end. Everyone realized that, boy, this man's like a walking Bhagavan. Incredible class. Everything from Srimad Bhagavatam. And that was his life. And wherever he goes, this was one of his favourite verses. Of course, his came a little later, the one we just recited. And when he came to New Zealand, everyone in the temple was learning Bhagavatam. Everyone. He just ignited a fire. Ignited a fire. Krishna consciousness is like igniting a fire, which never goes out. So let's read the translation. Srimad Bhagavatam is the spotless Purana. It is most dear to the Vaishnavas because it describes the pure and supreme knowledge of the Paramahamsas. That means the topmost swan-like devotees of the Lord. This Bhagavatam reveals the means for becoming free from all material work, together with the processes of transcendental knowledge, renunciation and devotion. Anyone who seriously tries to understand Srimad Bhagavatam, who properly hears it and chants it with devotion, becomes completely liberated. And it doesn't mean merging into the Brahman. That is not complete liberation. Complete liberation means to be reinstituted or return to one's eternal constitutional relationship with Krishna. Not just Brahman, spirit, but the relationship. Complete liberation means completely fixed, absolutely situated in one's eternal relationship with Krishna. I meditate upon that pure and spotless, supreme, absolute truth, who is free from suffering and death, and who in the beginning personally revealed this incomparable torchlight of knowledge to Brahma. Brahma then spoke it to Narada, who narrated it to Krishna by Payana Vyas. Srila Vyas revealed this Bhagavatam to the great sages Shukadeva Goswami and Sukadeva Goswami mercifully spoke it to Maharaj Parikshit. We offer our obeisances to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vasudeva, the all-pervading witness who mercifully explained this science to Brahma when he anxiously desired salvation. Namaste Smai Bhagavate Vasudevaya Sakshine Yahidam Kripaya Kasmai Yachachakshe Mumukshave. I offer my humble obeisances to Sri Shukadeva Goswami, the best of mystic sages and a personal manifestation of the absolute truth. He saved Maharaj Parikshit, who was bitten by the snake of material existence, by speaking Srimad Bhagavatam. O Lord of Lords, O Master, please grant us pure devotional service at your lotus feet, life after life, even if we have to come back. Pure devotion. Nam Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Panashan Pranamo Dukkha Shamanas Tang Namami Haring Param. This is the very last verse of Srimad Bhagavatam. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Hari, the congregational chanting of whose holy names destroys all sinful reactions, and the offering of obeisances unto whom relieves all material sufferings. End of Srimad Bhagavatam. So beautiful. And it's interesting here, the congregational chanting of the holy name. When Prabhupada did arrive in Boston with the Srimad Bhagavatam and etc., he wrote that Markandeya Bhagavat Dharma, which will be honoured on Monday. And his final words, I have no knowledge, I have no devotion, I have simply firm faith in the holy name of Krishna. So by chanting the holy name and Srimad Bhagavatam and of serving the devotees, there are so many verses which describe other aspects here, but basically speaking, by serving the Vaishnavas in this day and age, particularly Kirtan, and by rendering and by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam regularly from the right source, one achieves all perfection in life. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Harinama Sankirtan ki jai. Any questions or comments? Yes, Bijoy.
I'm sorry, it might be a bit insignificant. You mentioned that this is the essence of the Vedanta philosophy.
That's what was written there.
I don't know what Vedanta philosophy means. Is that the same as Vedic scriptures or not?
Yes, and it is, in the broad sense. Vedanta means the conclusion of the Vedas. Scriptures which give conclusive knowledge and evidence, generally termed Veda, although there may be many aspects. For instance, in the Rig Veda, the Sama Vedas, it appears to indicate more materialistic conclusions or materialistic objectives, even demigod worship is emphasized. But behind that, the purpose behind all the Vedas, Vedanta, Veda Evacham, what's it go? How's that verse, Bhagavad Gita? I am the knower of the Vedas, the compiler of the Vedas, and by all the Vedas am I to be known. Behind everything, the purpose of the Vedas is to know the absolute truth in full, the Supreme Person. Although other Vedas may not so directly indicate that. That's why Srimad Bhagavatam was emphasized by Narada Muni to be compiled by Vyasadeva, because he compiled all the other scriptures which do also point that way. All the Vedas point that way. But unfortunately, most people don't catch the sign. They see other signs and they're misdirected towards material goals, liberation, mystic powers, and so on. Whereas the essence of the Vedas is to ultimately to understand one's relationship with the Supreme Person. So the Srimad Bhagavatam directly indicates that. So it's compressed. It puts together all the goals of all the other Vedas to the ultimate goal. So it's the pinnacle of all the Vedas. So most people get stuck at a certain level and think that's it. There's nothing more than that.
But what can I understand from Vedanta? We study Vedanta philosophy?
Yeah, Vedanta means, as I said, Veda means knowledge, and Anta means the final conclusion, or the end of Vedic knowledge. So all the indications which are there in the various scriptures that say about, surrendering to God, or whatever it may be, are completely it's a donation to the temple. This is the essence, this is the complete conclusion of all of those. I mean, surrendering to God is indeed correct. Krishna as God is indeed correct. But this is the complete, Bhagavatam is complete. What does that mean to surrender to God? Who is God? What is our relationship with God? Everything is not just theoretical. It's manifested here. We're hearing the actual pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. It means all literatures which point to that direction. Of all literatures which point to the final goal of existence, the Srimad Bhagavatam is the most essential. The essence. It takes us into that atmosphere.
So if someone turns around and says, what philosophy do you practice? What would you answer Vedanta philosophy, or you would answer something?
Depends who you're talking to.
Okay. I'm sorry, I'm just trying to...
No, I understand. Depends who you're talking to. I mean, if you're talking to an ordinary person, then that won't mean anything particularly. Vedanta philosophy is that which leads, as the Bhagavatam itself says, The topmost religion of all human beings is that which leads to loving devotional service to the personality of God. So our philosophy, our lifestyle is geared towards that. That which helps us to awaken loving devotional service to the personality of God. Beginning of the Bhagavatam. So Srimad Bhagavatam is aimed solely and wholly at that. Other scriptures may have that as their ultimate goal, but in of themselves they're not seemingly so directed towards that. They're directed towards all the various, what we say, ingredients of material existence and how to get free from the modes of nature. Bhagavatam contains that too, but that isn't, that's just almost like Vasudeva Bhagavati Bhakti Yoda Hochije, that they're automatically contained within the science of Bhagavatam, which is pure devotional service. Others, they don't emphasize pure devotion, it's mixed, very mixed. Maybe not even devotional service, it may be some other process of gradually bringing one to devotional service. Bhagavatam essentially is just aimed at that one point, pure devotional service to Krishna. We try to explain, and other scriptures, other paths may be connected to that, and they're not to be decried in any way, but they should be understood in relationship with the Supreme, or in relationship with the Son, so to speak. Everything should be understood in relationship to the objective goal. That's back to you. Okay, we'll finish there. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. There'll be Harinam Sankirtan today at 2:30 for anyone who'd like to join us, leaving sharp at 2:30 on the dot, as always, outside the front door of the castle. Is that right, Vishnu Chan?
Yes.
Yeah. Prabhupada Ki Jai. Bhadra Purnima Ki Jai. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. World Holy Name Week Ki Jai. All Premanandi. Put that in the back.